The rain hammered the roof like fists demanding entry. But Evelyn Harper didn't hear it. She stood frozen in the dim attic light, a faded envelope trembling in her hands, the words inside searing her soul like acid. My dearest Reagan. Every stolen glance feels like fire on my skin. Her daughters. Her blood. Loving each other in the shadows. And then, the lie she'd buried for 25 years clawed its way free, whispering horrors she'd sworn to silence forever. Evelyn's knees buckled. She sank onto a dusty trunk, the letters spilling across her lap like forbidden fruit, pages of ink-stained confessions, pressed wildflowers, and promises that twisted her world inside out. Reagan, her fierce firstborn, and Harper, the fragile light she'd rescued from ruin. How had it come to this? The attic air thickened with ghosts, and Evelyn choked on a sob that echoed back a lifetime of secrets. Evelyn had always prided herself on being the rock of the family, the one who held the crumbling edges of their Seattle life together, after the accident that stole her husband and nearly everything else. It was a drizzly Tuesday in early fall, the kind where the Puget Sound fog clung to your bones, when she decided to finally tackle the attic. Reagan was away on one of her endless climbing trips in the Cascades, always chasing some peak to conquer, her way of outrunning the emptiness, and Harper was buried in her graphic design studio downtown, sketching dreams into pixels. The house on Queen and Hill felt too big, too quiet without them, a Victorian relic with creaking floors and bay windows that wept condensation like unshed tears. She'd meant to sort old holiday decorations, maybe unearth some photo albums to remind herself of the good years. But the trunk, that godforsaken trunk tucked in the eaves, called to her like a siren's song. It was locked, rusted hasp mocking her curiosity, but Evelyn had the key on her ring, a relic from her late sister Lila's belongings. Lila, who had vanished into the ether after one too many bad choices, leaving behind a trail of what-ifs. Evelyn jimmied the lock with a butter knife, the click echoing like a gunshot in the silence. Inside, amid moth-eaten linens and yellowed newspaper clippings, lay the letters. Dozens of them, bound with a frayed ribbon the color of dried blood. The top envelope bore Harper's looping script, "To our only for your eyes." Evelyn's heart stuttered. She shouldn't look. Privacy was sacred in their fractured home. But the ribbon slipped free under her fingers, and the first page unfolded like a betrayal. Reagan, last night under the stars at Discovery Park, when you traced the scar on my wrist and said it made me unbreakable. God, I wanted to tell you everything. How your laugh undoes me. How I've loved you since we were kids stealing cookies from Mom's jar. This isn't sisterly anymore. Deeper. Wilder. Meet me at the lighthouse at midnight? In every forbidden way. Ush. Evelyn's vision blurred. She read on. Each word a dagger. Descriptions of stolen kisses in the family basement. Fingers interlaced under the dinner table. Whispered vows in the dead of night. Reagan's replies were bolder. Ink slashed like climbing ropes. Harper. You're my anchor in my storm. Screw the world that says this is wrong. I'll burn it down for you. The wildflowers pressed between pages, Queen Anne's lace from their childhood hikes, forget-me-nots from Harper's garden, mocked her now. Symbols of a love she'd never seen blooming right under her nose. Nausea rose. Hot and bitter. Daughters. Her daughters. The taboo of it clawed at her chest. But beneath the revulsion lurked something sharper. Guilt. Because Harper wasn't hers by blood. That was the lie. The darkest one. festering since the night Lila died in a car wreck on I-5. High on whatever poison she'd chased that week. Evelyn had claimed the baby, 6 months old, wide-eyed and wailing, in the hospital chaos, forging papers with a desperation born of love and loss. She's family. She'd told herself. I'll give her what Lila couldn't. But blood whispered otherwise. And now this unholy tangle. She slammed the trunk shut. Letters clutched to her breast like a shield. And stumbled down the attic stairs. The house spun. Walls closing in with memories. Reagan at 8. Teaching toddler Harper to ride a bike on the cul-de-sac. Their laughter a bomb after Tom's funeral. Harper at 16. Sketching Reagan's portrait for art class. Cheeks flushing when Evelyn teased her about sisterly admiration. How had she missed the shift? The lingering hugs. The shared bedroom even after Harper turned 18. The way Reagan's eyes softened only for her? By evening, Evelyn sat at the kitchen island, a half-empty bottle of Cabernet mocking her resolve. She needed to confront them. But fear rooted her. Fear of shattering the only family she had left. Reagan, 30 now. Wait, no, 28. With her paramedic job and that unyielding jaw set like her father's, had always been the protector. Harper, 25. Soft-spoken with dreams of illustrating children's books. Hid her fire behind sketches and smiles. They were her world. And now? This. The front door clicked open at 9. Reagan's boots thudding first. Mom? You home? Brought takeout pad thai. Your favorite. Her voice was gravelly from the wind. Auburn hair windswept. Green eyes sparking with that post-adventure glow. She dropped a greasy bag on the counter. Then froze. Scenting the tension like smoke. What's wrong? You look like you saw a ghost. Harper slipped in behind. Hoodie zipped to her chin. Hazel eyes darting. Hey. Mom. Rough day. She pecked Evelyn's cheek. A habit from girlhood. But tonight it burned. Evelyn's hand shot out. Letters tumbling across the granite. Explain this. Silence crashed like thunder. Reagan's face drained of color. Eyes locking on the top page. Harper gasped. Hand flying to her mouth. Freckles stark against paling skin. Mom. That's private, Harper whispered. Voice cracking. Private. Evelyn's laugh was brittle. Edged with hysteria. You two. Loving each other? Like that? You're sisters. My daughters. The word daughters hung. Laced with unspoken poison. Reagan stepped forward. Shielding Harper instinctively. Her climber's frame taut. It's not what you think. It is what I think. Evelyn surged to her feet. Wine sloshing. Kisses in the dark? Vows? Got. Reagan. You're the strong one. How could you drag her into this mess? Harper whimpered. Tears spilling. It's not dragging. It's real. Mom. We fought it for years. But it's us. Against everything. The room pulsed with unsaid truths. Evelyn saw flashes, the way they'd huddled during storms. Reagan's arm around Harper's shoulders. Late-night talks Evelyn had eavesdropped on. Mistaking whispers for sibling confidences. But now, the pieces fit into something profane. Get out, she hissed. Voice breaking. Both of you. I can't. They fled into the night. Reagan's truck roaring to life. Taillights blurring in the rain. Evelyn collapsed. Letters scattering like confetti from a broken heart. Alone. The lie she'd guarded cracked open. Harper wasn't her biological daughter. Lila's child. Yes, wild-haired, hazel-eyed like her aunt, but Evelyn had erased that line to heal. To love without limits. And now? That erasure had birthed a different sin. Days blurred into a haze. Reagan texted once, "We need to talk." "Please." Harper called. Voice small. "I love her. Mom." That hasn't changed. Evelyn ignored them, drowning in Merlot and memories. She wandered the house like a specter, tracing Reagan's climbing trophies on the mantel, Harper's sketches pinned to the fridge, portraits of them all, idealized, unbroken. It was Mrs. Patel next door who noticed first, knocking with a casserole and concerned eyes. "Evelyn. Beta. You look lost." "The girls? Trouble in paradise." Evelyn cracked, spilling fragments, not the letters, but the rift. Mrs. Patel, wise in her sari and silver bangles, nodded sagely. "Love doesn't follow maps, dear. Carves its own. But family? That's the mountain you climb together." Her words lingered. A seed in barren soil. Evelyn dug deeper into the trunk that night, unearthing Lila's diary, pages of regret. A final entry scrawled in hospital ink. "If I go, promise you'll take her. Make her yours. She's all the good I ever made." Evelyn had honored it. But at what cost? The lie had protected Harper from Lila's shadow addiction, abandonment, but now it poisoned the roots. Reagan returned first. Alone. On a blustery Thursday. She stood in the doorway, jacket dripping, eyes hollowed by mountain winds and worry. "Mom, we can't do this. Harper's a wreck. She's not eating, not drawing. Talk to me." Evelyn faced her from the armchair, letters in her lap like a talisman. "How long?" "Reagan, since when did my daughter become your lover?" Reagan knelt, voice raw. "Since college, I guess. Harper visited me in Boulder, and one night, after too much cheap wine, she kissed me. I pushed her away for months. Told myself it was wrong, twisted. But she saw me. Mom. Really saw me. Not the widow's kid. Not the climber running from Dad's ghost. Me." Evelyn's throat tightened. She remembered Reagan's breakdowns after Tom died, scaling sheer faces alone, courting death to feel alive. Harper had always been her tether, gentle hands pulling her back. "And you think that's love? Sneaking around like thieves?" "It's not sneaking anymore." Reagan's green eyes blazed. "We were going to tell you after Harper's exhibit next month. But you found them first." The exhibit, Harper's big break. Illustrations for a queer romance graphic novel. Ironically, Evelyn had RSVP'd. Proud. Now, it's soured. What about the family? The neighbors? The church ladies who still whisper about your father? This would destroy us. Reagan laughed bitterly. Destroy? Or free? We've been living half-lives for you, Mom. Hiding who we are. The word struck deep, unearthing Evelyn's own ghosts. At 25, she'd loved Lila, not just as a sister, but with a fire she'd buried under duty. Stolen summers in the San Juans, hands brushing in the surf, hearts pounding with unspoken want. Lila's wildness had scared her, led to the drugs, the wreck. Evelyn had chosen safety, married Tom, built walls. But regret festered, a mirror to this moment. I have something to tell you, Evelyn whispered. The dam breaking. She handed Reagan a photo from the trunk, Lila cradling infant Harper, eyes alight with fragile hope. Harper. She's not mine. Not by blood. She's Lila's. Your aunt's. Reagan stared, world tilting. What? That's impossible. It happened after the accident. Lila named me guardian in her will. I couldn't let her go into foster care. Not after everything. So I claimed her as my own. Changed the records. For her sake. For ours. Reagan rocked back, face crumpling. All these years. You lied? To protect what? Some perfect family facade. To protect her from the truth of Lila. The mess. The pain. Evelyn's voice cracked. But I see now, I lied to myself too. Love isn't blood. It's choice. And I chose wrong. They sat in the wreckage. Rain pattering like hesitant applause. Reagan reached for her hand. The first bridge. Then choose us now. Mom. All of us. But Harper was the key. Fractured and fleeing. Evelyn found her at the studio. Curled on a beanbag amid half-finished panels. Women entwined in moonlit forests. Defying thorns. Harper looked up. Eyes red-rimmed. Sketchpad clutched like armor. You hate me. I hate the hurt, Evelyn said. Sinking beside her. But not you. Never you. The words unlocked the flood. Harper wept. Spilling years of confusion. First stirrings at 15. Watching Reagan train for marathons. Body lithe and strong. The guilt that choked her. Prayers and empty pews for it to fade. I tried dating guys. Mom. College boys who saw me as a conquest. But it was ash. With Reagan. It's home. Evelyn pulled her close. Inhaling the scent of charcoal and lavender, Harper's essence. I know that fire, she murmured. I felt it once. For Lila. Harper stilled. Aunt Lila? You? A lifetime ago. I ran from it. Buried it. And look what it cost us. She confessed the adoption. The forged life. The love that had simmered unspoken. Harper listened. Piecing it together, the shared hazel eyes. The affinity for wildflowers. The way Evelyn's gaze lingered on old photos. You're not my mom? Harper's voice trembled. Not with rejection. But wonder. I'm more, Evelyn said fiercely. I chose you. Every diaper. Every scraped knee. Every midnight fever. Blood be damned. They embrace. The studio's fluorescent hum a soft witness. But reconciliation was a fragile bloom. And shadows lingered. Reagan joined them later. The three forming a hesitant circle amid sketches of defiant love. Yet Evelyn saw the cracks. Reagan's clenched jaw. Harper's averted eyes. The letters had unearthed more than lies. They'd stirred old wounds. Weeks passed in a fragile truce. The Harper house on Queen and a pressure cooker of half-truths and tentative touches. Evelyn burned the letters in the backyard fire pit one crisp October evening. Ashes swirling like released sins. But the words lingered. Etched in memory. Reagan and Harper moved cautiously. No longer hiding but not flaunting, hands brushing over coffee mugs. Shared glances that spoke volumes. Evelyn watched. Heart a battlefield. pride warring with the primal taboo. Even knowing the blood lie dissolved the incest shadow. They weren't sisters by birth, but 25 years of shared Christmases, shared grief, made it feel like sacrilege all the same. Reagan threw herself into work, hauling stretchers up rain-slicked hillsides, saving lives while hers teetered. Adrenaline's the only thing keeping me steady, she confessed one night over takeout lo mein. Her climber's hands scarred and sore as she twirled noodles. Harper nodded, sketching absently a portrait of them three, arms linked against a stormy sea. But Evelyn saw the strain. Harper's designs grew darker, thorns encroaching on her lover's panels. Reagan's texts came late, laced with exhaustion. The exhibit loomed. Harper's gallery show at the Fremont Foundry, a cavernous space of exposed brick and Edison bulbs, buzzing with Seattle's art scene. Evelyn helped hang the panels, fingers trembling on frames depicting queer heroines, a boxer with a healer's heart, a poet binding wounds with verse. "This is you and Reagan, isn't it?" she asked softly, pinning a piece where two women clasped hands atop a cliff. Harper flushed, hazel eyes sparkling. "Inspired by. But it's bigger, stories for girls like us, who love fierce and fear nothing." Pride swelled, bittersweet. Evelyn had canceled her church book club, dodging Mrs. Abernathy's prying eyes. But whispers slithered through the neighborhood. The Harper girls, always so close. She armored herself with silence, focusing on the unveiling. The night arrived under a canopy of stars, the foundry alive with clinking glasses and indie folk strumming from speakers. Harper shone in an emerald sheath that hugged her slender frame. Freckles dusted like constellations, wavy hair pinned with a wildflower clip. Reagan flanked her, dapper in slacks and a silk blouse unbuttoned just enough to reveal the tattoo on her collarbone. A lighthouse, their midnight haunt. Evelyn hovered at the edges, nursing Chardonnay, her salt and pepper bob smooth, floral dress a nod to normalcy. Crowds milled, oohing over panels, but Evelyn's eye caught a shadow. Victoria Lang, Reagan's ex from Boulder days. Tall, blonde, with a model's poise and a surgeon's precision. Vic had crashed more than one family dinner with her scalpel wit. She'd moved to Seattle for a residency at Swedish, and now she glided toward Reagan. Champagne flute extended like a truce flag. "Ray," Vic purred, air-kissing her cheek. "Heard about the show. Harper's work stunning." Like her muse, her blue eyes flicked to Reagan, lingering on the tattoo with knowing gleam. Reagan stiffened, but smiled tightly. "Vic." "Long time." Harper excused herself to greet patrons, but Evelyn saw the flicker, jealousy sharpening her features. Vic leaned in, voice low. "Missed you at the holiday party last year." Still climbing those walls, literal and otherwise. Evelyn drifted closer. Maternal radar pinging. Vic had been Reagan's straight phase, or so they joked, a whirlwind of frat parties and forced normalcy before Reagan owned her truth. But breakups left barbs, and Vic's gaze raked Reagan like reclaimed territory. As the toast rang out, Harper's shy speech on loving beyond lines, Vic slipped a card into Reagan's pocket. "Coffee? For old times." "No strings." Reagan paled, crumpling it. But the seed was planted. That night, back home, the high crashed. Harper paced the living room, wildflowers wilting in a vase. "Who was that?" "The ex who called me the little sister like I was a kid." Reagan sighed, shedding her blouse, lighthousing stark under lamplight. "Vic's harmless." Water under the bridge. Harmless. Harper's voice rose. Sketches scattering from the coffee table. She looked at you like she owned you. And you let her hand you that card. It was polite. Reagan's jaw set. Climber's edge sharpening. You're overreacting. Overreacting? After Mom found the letters. After we promised no more secrets. Harper's tears came hot. Freckles blurring. I'm terrified. Reagan. Of losing you. Of this being too much. Reagan pulled her close. But the embrace felt laced with doubt. You won't lose me. Ever. Evelyn watched from the stairs. Unseen. Heart-aching. She'd ignited this fault line with her discovery. But now betrayal brewed, not from blood, but choice. Vic's pursuit escalated subtly. A wolf in surgeon's scrubs. Flowers arrived at Reagan's station, roses, bold and blood-red with notes, thinking of our summit in the Rockies. Climb with me again? Reagan tossed them. But Harper found the petals in the trash. Paranoia blooming. She's stalking you. Tell her off. I did. Reagan snapped one rainy afternoon. Fresh from a shift. Mud caked her boots. Eyes shadowed. But Vic's persistent. Says she gets it now, after her own coming out last year. Wants to make amends. Harper recoiled. Hurt flashing. Amends? Or unfinished business? You loved her once. That was different. Fake. You know that. Reagan cupped Harper's face. Thumbs brushing tears. This us is real. But doubt festered. A slow poison. Evelyn tried mediating. Inviting them for family dinners laced with therapy speak from her new counselor. Communication is the rope that binds, she'd say. Passing mashed potatoes. They nodded. But Reagan's phone buzzed incessantly. Vic's text. Innocuous on the surface. Saw a patient today who reminded me of you, fighter. Harper seethed in silence. Designs turning jagged. The betrayal crested at Thanksgiving. The house redolent with turkey and tension. Evelyn had invited Mrs. Patel for buffer. Her sari a splash of color against the harvest linens. Reagan arrived late. Windburn from a solo hike. Bearing pies. Harper greeted her with a stiff kiss. Eyes scanning for blonde interlopers. Midmeal. Reagan's phone lit up on the sideboard. A text from Vic stuck at there. Wish you were here to stitch me up like old times. Dinner after? Harper snatched it. Face crumpling. Dinner? While I'm carving the damn bird. Reagan lunged. But too late. Harper. It's nothing. Nothing. Harper hurled the phone. Screen cracking on the floor. You're texting her. Flirting. Probably. While I bare my soul in those panels, Mrs. Patel cleared her throat discreetly. But Evelyn's world narrowed to the storm. Girls. No. Harper whirled on Reagan. Voice shattering. I knew it. The letters were a mistake. We were a mistake. Mom was right, it's twisted. Even without the blood lie. Reagan's face twisted in agony. Stop. I love you. Vic's a ghost. Then exorcise her. Harper fled to the studio. Door slamming like finality. Reagan turned to Evelyn. Green eyes pleading. Help me fix this. But Evelyn, raw from her own unearthed past, faltered. You have to choose. Reagan. Really choose. Or it'll consume us all. Alone in the aftermath. Reagan drove to the lighthouse. Waves crashing like accusations. Vic called coincidence or curse, her voice smooth over the line. Ray? Heard about the drama. Let me be the steady one. No baggage. Temptation whispered easy, uncomplicated. Vic knew her edges, her scars. But Reagan hung up, hurling her phone into the surf. Dawn broke gray, and she returned home, resolved. Harper was gone, packed a bag, left a note, need space. To draw without thorns. Forgive me. Reagan crumpled, but Evelyn stepped in. Fierce now. Go get her. That's what family does. They tracked her to a Fleabag motel in Ballard. Harper curled on a lumpy bed, sketchpad open to a blank page. Reagan knelt, voice breaking. I blocked Vic. Deleted everything. You're my everything. Harp. No more ghosts. Harper searched her eyes. Vulnerability raw. Promise. Swear on the lighthouse. On us. They kissed, slow and reclaiming. As Evelyn waited in the car, rain streaking the windows. Forgiveness was a start, but the high tide of hurt lingered. Back home, the trio rebuilt brick by brick. Evelyn shared more of Lila, letters from her wild youth. A photo of her and Evelyn on a beach. Arms slung casual but eyes intense. We could have been, she admitted over cocoa one night. But I chose fear. Don't you? Harper traced the photo. Wonder dawning. You loved her like I love Reagan. Evelyn nodded. Tears silver. And I choose it again. Knowing now, the exhibit's afterglow faded into winter. Snow dusting the evergreens. Reagan proposed, not with rings, but a shared climbing harness, vowing adventures eternal. Harper illustrated their story. Thorns tamed into trellises. But Evelyn sensed undercurrents. Harper's sketches grew wistful. Reagan's hikes longer. The darkest lie resurfaced in February. A manila envelope from a Portland lawyer, Lila's estate. Long dormant. Inside, adoption papers. Unredacted. And a letter from Lila. Dated days before the crash. If you're reading this, I'm gone. Harper's yours now. But tell her the truth someday. And forgive me for loving you too hard. Too soon. Broke me. But it was worth it. Evelyn's hand shook. Lila had known about the fire between them. The unspoken queer thread weaving their family. She died carrying that, just as Evelyn had buried it. Confronting the girls, Evelyn laid it bare. Lila loved me as more than a sister. And Harper, she was conceived in hope, not regret. A donor, a fresh start. But the lie was mine, to shield you both from judgment. Reagan's eyes widen, piecing legacies. So we're echoes, threads, Evelyn corrected. Woven strong. Harper wept. Not in loss, but release. Then we're free. Spring unfurled in Seattle like a hesitant confession. Cherry blossoms painting the hill pink against gunmetal skies. The Harper women, Evelyn, Reagan, Harper, navigated their redefined tapestry with the care of trailblazers. Therapy sessions in a cozy Belltown office. Where Sing coaxed buried roots to light. Family hikes in the Olympics. Where Reagan led with ropes and Harper mapped with sketches. Quiet evenings poring over Lila's letters. Reclaiming a ghost as kin. Evelyn felt lighter. Unburdened. Her gray eyes clearer. She joined a support group for late-blooming queers. Women like her. 40s and 50s. Unpacking decades of shoulds. It's never too late for your truth, the circle leader, a leather-vested dyke named Frankie, would say. Evelyn nodded, fingers tracing a new tattoo on her wrist, a wildflower, for the letters she'd burned. Reagan and Harper's love deepened, no longer shadowed. They moved into a tiny craftsman in Fremont, walls alive with Harper's murals, lighthouses beaming through storms, climbers scaling hearts. Reagan proposed properly on a summer solstice eve, at Discovery Park under a meteor shower, a ring forged from recycled climbing carabiners, simple platinum band etched with anchor and storm. Harper said yes with a kiss that tasted of salt and stars. Her graphic novel deal inked the next week, threads unraveled. A tale of forbidden blooms in fractured families. But peace, Evelyn learned, was a climber's hold, precarious, requiring grip. The betrayal from Vic had scarred. A hairline fracture. It reappeared in July. Sweltering heatwave cracking Seattle's cool facade. Reagan Station buzzed with a multi-car pileup on 99, and she was first on scene, twisted metal, cream, the acrid bite of spilled fuel. Among the victims, Vic, pinned in her BMW, leg mangled, blue eyes locking on Reagan's with delirious gratitude. "You," Vic gasped, blood-streaked. "My guardian angel." Reagan worked methodically, tourniquet for vitals, professional armor intact. But in the ER handover, Vic gripped her sleeve. "Ray, stay. Please. I can't." Reagan's voice was steady, but her hands shook as she signed off. Word spread like fire through the grapevine. Harper heard at her publisher's lunch, a colleague's offhand, "Your girl's a hero, saved her ex's life today." The fork clattered from Harper's hand, appetite fleeing. By evening, she confronted Reagan in their sun-dappled kitchen, hazel eyes stormy. "You went to her? After everything?" "No, Harper. It was the job." Reagan, still in scrubs, reached out. She crashed. "I triaged." "That's it. But you cared." Harper's voice cracked, old insecurities flaring. "I saw it in your eyes that night at the gallery. The pull. She's the straight path you could have taken, no thorns, no judgment." Reagan recoiled, green eyes flashing hurt. "And you're the wild one I chose. Every time. Not enough. Apparently." Harper grabbed her sketchpad, fleeing to the studio, a converted garage pulsing with half-formed panels for her sequel. Doors slammed. Echoes of Thanksgiving redux. Evelyn arrived at dawn, summoned by Reagan's frantic text. "Help. She's packing." The house reeked of regret. Coffee cold on the counter. Harper sat cross-legged amid chaos, books tumbled, clothes stuffed in duffels, face streaked with charcoal smudges from frantic drawing. A woman dissolving into thorns, another reaching from shadows. "Harper. Listen." Evelyn knelt, voiced the rock she'd always been. "No." Harper's laugh was hollow. "It's the lie again. Isn't it? Blood or not, we're tangled wrong. Mom, you tried to fix us with truth, but it just unravels." Reagan hovered in the doorway, frame slumped, the unbreakable climber cracked. "Let me fight for us." "You did," Harper whispered. "But Vic's alive because fate's cruel. And part of you will always wonder." The words gutted them. Evelyn saw the precipice, one push, and the family she'd forged would plummet. She thought of Lila's letter, the forgiveness she'd begged for across the grave. Fate's not cruel, she said softly. It's a mirror, showing what we fear most. She pulled a folded paper from her purse, Lila's final note. Transcribed. Read this. All of it. Harper's hands trembled as she unfolded it, Reagan peering over her shoulder. Lila's script danced. Loving you was my brightest mistake. Too young. Too reckless. I chased highs to fill the hole you left when duty called. But Harper? She's my redemption. Tell her I loved fierce. Without apology. And tell you, it's never too late to claim your wild. Tears blurred the ink. Harper looked up, seeing echoes, her own fire, mirrored in aunt and mother. She was like us. Like us, Evelyn affirmed. And she chose love. Even broken. Reagan stepped forward. Voice raw. Vic's a chapter closed. I visited her yesterday, not for coffee, but closure. Told her about you. About this. She tapped the ring on Harper's finger. Absent now in the duffel. She gets it. Wishes us well. Harper searched her eyes. Vulnerability yielding to trust. No more ghosts. None. Reagan knelt, offering the ring anew. Marry me. Harp. Let's write our ending. Harper slipped it on. Fingers entwining. Yes. 1,000 times. Evelyn enveloped them. The three a knot unbreakable. But the climax crested not in fury, but quiet revelation a week later. At Harper's book launch in a sunlit Capitol Hill bookstore. Vic appeared, not as specter, but ally. Crutches clicking. She bought the first signed copy. For the fighter who saved me, she told Harper. Blue eyes soft. Twice over. Harper hugged her. Thorns to truce. Thank you. Outside. Under a benevolent sun. The family walked home, arms linked. Steps synced. Evelyn glanced at the Victorian. Its porch no longer a stage for storms but a threshold to tomorrows. The darkest lie had unearthed not ruin, but roots. Love as choice. Fierce and flawed. Weaving bloodless bonds stronger than any facade. Reagan paused at the gate, pulling Harper close. To the lighthouse? Always. Evelyn smiled, trailing behind. In America's sprawl, from rainy coasts to whispered heartlands, families like theirs bloomed defiant, human, messy, eternal. The lie was dust, the love, legend. And in the quiet of that American dusk, with jazz drifting from a neighbor's radio and the sound whispering secrets, Evelyn whispered to the wind, forgive us our wilds. We choose them still.